Welcome! This is Roy Rasmussen on behalf of DMS and Associates, here to share some disaster recovery strategies for protecting your cloud data. Hurricane season reminds us in a dramatic way of how natural disasters can affect computer networks. But the practical need for a disaster recovery plan is perhaps better illustrated by more common disasters like power outages and computer viruses. If you've ever had to reboot your computer after a lightning storm or a blue screen of death, you can visualize what might happen if your company had to reboot your whole network after a disaster. Damaged files, lost data, lost customers and revenue, and legal liability are a few potential problems you might face. To avoid these kinds of issues, a disaster recovery plan should be incorporated into any company's strategy for managing their computer network, whether they're going to be hosting their network on the cloud or elsewhere. Here are a few tips for developing an effective disaster recovery plan for your computer network. These tips are also generally applicable to in-house networks. 1. Have a general business continuity plan. It's important to view your cloud disaster recovery plan as part of a big picture that includes your whole business. Disaster recovery planning is a computer component of a broader approach to surviving business emergencies called business continuity planning. Business continuity planning asks questions like, what are the key components your company would need to continue running in the event of an emergency? Your most vital staff, space, equipment, supply chains, telecommunications, and computer systems and data. What are the potential threats to these components, and how could they affect your business? What components would need to be restored to get your business up and running again, and how fast would you need to get them back up? What steps would be required to get them back up, and who would be responsible for implementing these steps, and how would they be alerted? Asking these types of questions can help you develop a practical business continuity plan that includes a data recovery plan as part of the big picture. Make sure your key staff know your plan and are prepared to implement it in the event of an emergency. 2. Choose a host with a redundancy policy. Your disaster recovery plan is also affected by your choice of your networking host provider. When considering prospective cloud hosting providers, have your IT consultant check what measures the provider uses to protect data during network downtime. One hallmark of a disaster-prepared provider is effective use of a data protection strategy called redundancy. The basic idea behind redundancy is to include multiple backup devices at multiple locations in case one device fails, ensuring that data lost at one location is still preserved at another. For example, in the United States, redundant networks often have data centers on both the East Coast and the West Coast. A surprisingly large percentage of in-house data centers lack redundancy procedures. A good cloud provider should employ them, and will usually emphasize this in their sales copy on their website. 3. Create multiple backups. Another item to check when considering providers is what backup procedures they use and offer. Providers may offer a range of backup services. These are not necessarily automatic or free. You should check whether your prospective host offers automatic backups, whether they allow you to perform manual backups, and whether there is a fee for these services. You should also work with your provider to address issues such as how often you run your backups and how they are stored for access. For example, the host our company uses gives us the option to periodically send them an external backup device like a flash drive or external hard drive to back up our entire server. The device is then returned to us for safekeeping. So our server is not only incrementally backed up every night and fully backed up once a week on our host server, but we have yet another full backup on a separate device stored in our safe. Putting these principles into practice will help secure your data on the cloud. On behalf of DMS and Associates, this is Roy Rasmussen. Thanks for watching this video.